There's obviously a well-known, probably might be a myth, I don't know, that says we should sleep for 8 hours a night.
Well, anytime you throw out numbers like that, again, you're talking on average for most people most of the time. We certainly have some people that are high performing at 7, maybe 7.5. We certainly have plenty that need 9, 15, need more. There's actually excellent research on, it's called sleep extension research, where you look at, so this is, I love this because this is a great example of going from like, are you talking about risk of long-term health? Or are you talking about maximizing performance? Okay. Now the research is clear, going from like 7.5 hours to 9 hours is probably not needed to minimize your risk of brain health over there. Okay, like 7.5 probably fine. However, if you're trying to maximize your performance, it's a different answer. The sleep extension research will show you that the most classic one, Sherry Ma's work out of Stanford many years ago now, but she took the Stanford basketball team and she had them sleep an additional 2 hours a night in season. Right? They asked them to sleep for 10 hours a night. The end result was, I think, like 1.8 hours of additional sleep per night for 5 to 8 weeks in season. Okay. Now, there's no control group. There's lots of potential criticisms. I'll acknowledge all that, but it doesn't matter because what we're getting at here, you'll see the bigger point. And so she did this in high-level athletes in season, right? These also were not chronically sleep deprived. So they didn't go through like 3 hours of sleep and like that. They were sleeping 7 hours or whatever, and said go from 7 to, or 8 hours, go from 8 to 10 on average. Those numbers differed for every person, but that's what she did. And what she saw was a 9% improvement in free throw percentage. Enormous, right?
Wow.
About a 9% improvement in 3-point shooting percentage, improvements in reaction time, reduced sleepiness, improved mood, and a handful of other markers improved in season in Division I basketball players. Now, probably would have gotten better in season anyways, right? Like that tends to happen. Again, no control group. So I don't want to oversell it. But I think it's pretty powerful saying, hey, going from okay sleep to maximizing your sleep, pretty big improvements in all these tests. And some of the tests, like the reaction time test, they did daily for the whole season. So it wasn't just like, well, the one time they did a test, they happened to get better that day. Same thing, the free throw and 3-point shooting percentage stuff was done like in a weekly practice. And so they measured it, weekly over the season and pretty marked improvements. That's been repeated in tennis, swimming, cycling. It's been done in as little as 45 minutes of extra sleep per night for 3 days. And we're seeing improvements, reductions in cortisol by 20%, has been shown in rugby players. Reductions in body fat, improvements in VO2 max. All this stuff has been shown when you go from this like even 7 to 7.5 hour range to 8 plus. There's actually evidence of 30 additional minutes per night reduces the likelihood of getting a cold by 4 times. So good to great, it's not the same thing. Now, I run many companies in a lab. I have 2 small children. Like I know some of you out there are going like, oh my God,
yeah.
If I could only sleep for 10 hours, like trust me, like my wife will murder me just hearing that. But my point is not that. My point is to say, look, what if that work at Stanford was exaggerated? Okay, so instead of improving 3-point percentage by 9%, it was actually 5% or 4. Like I don't know, but who cares, right? Pretty powerful. And look at all the other studies. Like they're all generally in science. When you see multiple studies from different labs, different scientists, different groups, different populations, and they're all generally pointing towards the same thing, the numbers aren't exact and the mechanisms, yeah. But that is when you start to get real confidence. And with sleep extension, that's where I believe the collective research is. It's like there's a lot of studies from a lot of different scientists on a lot of different athletes measuring different things. And you see this 3 to 10% improvement in most measures when you go from anywhere between 45 to an additional 2 hours per night for as little as 3 days to up to 5 to 7 weeks. So from a normal person perspective, if you can sleep even 30 more minutes, it's probably going to matter. If you're a person who needs a nap and does well with napping, that can be your additional 30 minutes or 45 minutes or 90 minutes or whatever. So different people will get this differently. I personally hate napping, like as a personal human, but we'll use it a lot actually in our like our executives and CEOs, we do a ton of very concentrated, like intentional napping. That's super, super effective. So whatever it is for you, I personally do better if I just go to bed earlier. I can't sleep in. Like that will never happen, but if I can definitely go to sleep earlier. I can't nap and those things. So whatever works for you and your situation and your physiology, but it's generally a good idea. I can't make the argument that you'll live longer by going from 8 hours of sleep to 8:30. Not at all. But I can make a strong argument that it will make you perform better.